Hello, this is Scott Piceno, editor of Telecoms.com here at Mobile World Congress 2025. And I'm delighted to be at the Qualcomm stand talking to Durga. Hi, Durga.
Good.
So why don't we start? We're here on the first morning. It's already really busy.
Yes.
What has been the main things you're talking about at the show?
Yeah, so we're talking about a lot of things at the show, but I'm going to really hinge upon two concepts. The first one is we just made our announcement of our X85 5G advanced modem RF platform. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And if you kind of go around in the booth, we're showcasing a lot of things with generative AI and AI running on devices. So two big concepts. I'll start with the first one. So 5G advanced, which was a part of 3GPP releases done with release 17 and release 18, we introduced the X85 modem RF platform just earlier today. Big announcement. Lots of new concepts in that. It's the first modem RF platform that's capable of 400 megahertz capability, which brings the peak data rates to a really high 12.5 gigabits per second. Both on the downlink, that's 12.5. On the uplink, it's 3.7 gigabits per second, just using sub-6 alone, pushing the boundaries of mobile broadband and high speeds, both in the downlink and in the uplink. So that's like a big theme associated with that. But there is something else that we've been doing even as a part of 5G Advanced itself, and that's bringing in our AI features integrated into the modem itself. So what do I mean by that? There's lots of things that actually you do inside a basic connectivity 5G modem that, as it turns out, tends to be much better when you use AI. So the big one that we are announcing this year is classification of the kind of traffic that's going on inside your phone. So for example, let's say that you're watching a YouTube video or some video. You might want to have a different kind of parameter setting that's actually done within the phone, but you have to recognize that it's a YouTube video. It's not something else. Or you could be playing a game. And if you just look at it, then you don't know whether you're playing a game or not, but if you knew you were playing a game, you might actually change your settings differently. Maybe enable 6 receive antennas so that you get even better coverage, much better latency, and so on. So AI features are being used to improve user experience by understanding exactly the kind of traffic that's coming in. You might have a dual SIM phone, and you might say, do I pick up the other call that's coming on the SIM or not, depending upon the intelligence that you have. So pretty big features associated with our X85 modem RF. Now let me actually talk a little bit more on AI, generative AI. Now, of course, it's a pretty big, buzzword these days.
Certainly is.
And as Qualcomm, what we've done is we've really brought in generative AI running directly on devices without necessarily having any kind of a connectivity to the cloud. It always complements you, but at the same time, we are running it directly on the device. But the big theme this year for us is AI agents and chain of thought reasoning running on devices. So let me talk about AI agents first. For the longest period of time, we've had a user interface to our phones, our PCs, and a lot of the devices around us, which are based on tactile things. So you kind of click on something, you open an app. But AI agents are now going to be the front-end interface to you, listening to you all the time as you talk to it, and doing all the workloads behind the theme. So we are showcasing how it can be done, and there's a demo that shows how, as you're driving, you might be talking and things happen for you. You might be making reservations at some restaurant, as an example. Or you could be playing some specific music. Or you might be in a text messaging session with your family, and you just say, remind me, what did I tell my sister from 3 weeks back? And that thing pops up. You don't actually have to go back over there. So pretty unique, agentic AI use cases. The other part is just a few months back, there was a big event where a new kind of capability came into AI models. And this goes all the way from what is called as chain of thought reasoning. You might have heard about it.
Yeah.
Effectively, in a simplistic way, if you ask a question, the response that you get from there is not something that's instantaneous, but it is something that seems like a more thoughtful response.
Yeah.
In fact, you can see the wheels turning as it kind of tries to figure out, should I go in this direction? And you say, no, this one doesn't look good. And you get like a detailed response with that. So we are showcasing agentic AI and chain of thought reasoning in our booth today. There's lots of other AI demos, but these are like the big ones as we are setting the stage for where we need to be with AI as we go forward.
Well, that's great. And that's a really comprehensive answer. I think as a subset of AI, probably the most buzzy at the moment is agentic AI.
Yes.
And this, as you say, this chain of thought, there have been a few news developments in recent months that have contributed to a lot of buzz around that.
Yes.
And so it's fascinating to hear that you're getting that involved on device, and presumably it does a lot to augment the experience for the end user of a device. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah. So the way you think about this is that users spend a lot of time actually kind of doing a lot of things which might or not be absolutely essential to their actual work. So as an example, I'll give an example of say code generation. So let's say you're a software engineer in an enterprise. You spend a lot of time in terms of setting up your environment, in terms of how you want to write code. Maybe you want to write code in some different way and whatnot. But picture the following: you're just talking to your laptop and you're just saying, pull up that piece of code that I wrote from that over there, set up my environment this way, pull it in. Now let me start talking about like what is it that I want to do. And you see the code getting generated in front of you. In effect, it's a lot of simplification of the background tasks that are necessary, so you get to focus on what is really important. We spend a lot of time actually just trying to set up things for ourselves before we even get to the problem.
Yeah.
So we believe that with agentic AI, we can actually do that in a much faster way, improving productivity.
Yeah,
and most
sense.
importantly, it's a complete fundamental change in terms of how we interact with devices around us.
And then just one last one. So we've spoken a lot about what Qualcomm's doing to bring these things about on device, but Qualcomm also does a lot of work at the network edge, the intelligent edge. Can you just talk a bit about that in the context we've been talking about with AI and how that's improving things?
Yeah. So as we bring in a lot of these generative AI capabilities onto devices, strictly speaking, we talk about generative AI running at the edge. So the edge for us is a combination of devices, but also like the very first hop, like literally a server that is sitting right next to the devices as well. So imagine an industrial setting where you have multiple cameras, and maybe it's a surveillance kind of an example, but you have like a single edge server that's getting the feed from all the endpoints and making decisions from there onwards. So the key part to generative AI running on devices and at the edge is it's got to be extremely sophisticated in terms of the kinds of models that it can run. But most importantly, you need to have a very tight leash on the overall energy consumption, because power consumption matters. And that's the fundamental difference between what we do at the edge versus what is done on the cloud. Look, the cloud is always there to complement what is running at the edge.
Yeah.
But I think we are seeing a general paradigm, and I talked about it last year as well, where you can train the models in the cloud and you can run it at the edge on Qualcomm devices.
Great, okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, yeah.